Hi, folks. Dr. Victoria Scarbo here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. I have a couple of minutes sitting here, and so I've had. I wanted to do a reading on Andrew Cuomo. Um, I have been watching, not every day, of course, but I have been watching his daily briefings, and for the damage that Trump's daily briefings do. I feel like he is on the other side of that, trying to balance and keep us from falling into a pit of despair, quite frankly, about this whole thing. Showing us what leadership is, whether you agree with him or not, whether you think what he's doing is um, exactly how you would have done it or how it should be done. We can't deny the fact that the man is a leader and that he's exhibiting leadership. And I think in order for you to be a good leader, on a certain level, you have to believe what you're doing, even if later it's proven wrong. Um, you have to be willing to take the heat. And we obviously know that Donald Trump is not willing to take any kind of heat at all. Um, and most of the heat that he gets, he creates himself through his crazy actions and his unbridled id, as it were. And so I would like to do a reading on Andrew Cuomo and see what is in his future. I also will be doing an numerology Kabbalah on him. I've actually already sort of put it up on my little, how I put stuff up. That's how I work it on a big piece of white paper. Um, but I'll share that with you and my thoughts. And we also have a birthday on him, but we do not have a birth time, so we can get some information from his chart, but not really accurately gleaning from his chart. But he is a Sagittarius, and so Sagittarius is a sign that inspires. Um, and he also has Saturn conjunct his sun in Sagittarius. And so he inspires, but the Saturn makes it be very serious and very sort of, he has a comfort with the hierarchy of government. But because it's in Sagittarius, he's willing to sort of try new things and do things a little differently. There's much more of a free, sort of flowing energy with that Sag than there would be, say, if it was in Capricorn. So, and I think his Mercury is in Libra, which sort of, um, he is pointed out in the fact that he's the counterpoint to Trump's craziness. I have found him very inspiring, and I know that I don't know that much about his policy because I live in a different state. Um, Even though I do have family and friends that live in New York, I'm not up on their state politics. I'm barely up on my own state politics here in Massachusetts. But I know there are things that I would definitely not agree with him that he's done in the past. But I also see somebody who's willing to work with what is, right. So it's interesting. He's just an interesting guy, and I do have to, um, I guess, confess that I was a huge fan of his father's when I was down in New York and New Jersey, back when he was governor of the state of New York, and we even wanted him to become president. So I always loved Mario Cuomo. I always found him to be just a real good guy. Whether that's the truth or not either, I mean, we don't really know. But that being said, and I was young, but that being said, he definitely had a sense of service towards the people of New York. So And I can see that in his son. Okay, let's see. Mario. Oh, not Mario. She must be here. Hi, Mario. Your son's doing a good job. You taught him well. I know you're worried about him. You're a little worried. He's taking on too much. You did, and it cost you a little bit, I think. All right. He's a man stepping up to his time, I guess. All right, let's see. Okay. And so we have in the immediate future, in the immediate environment, I'm sorry, we have the Ten of Pentacles in this deck. It's called Affluence. And we can see there's this river of pentacles coming towards this person's feet. Um, so I would say at this point, there's a lot of very good energy coming his way. There's actually a lot of money coming his way. And I think that has to do with, or people are sort of lining up to funnel resources to him. And I think that's happening because he's proving himself to be a good leader. I don't think it's because they're trying to um, influence him to do what they want, whoever those are, right? Whoever they are. I really feel like they see him as, because those people who have the money, who do, pretty much pick who our politicians are, um, they don't necessarily want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. A functioning government, a functioning country is much more amenable to them than a country that's in chaos and disarray. There's only a few types of, you know, old money would that particular way of being, I think attracts. Kind of like Betsy DeVos and her family is attracted by the chaos of Trump. But I think that a lot of people with money and wealth do not want to see the country destroyed in the process. I think the DeVosses don't really care. So the point of this is that there is money flowing towards him. And whether he likes it or not, it's coming towards him. Let's see what the challenge is. Okay, the challenge is the Knight of Cups. This is um, this is an inspirational card, and his challenge is to keep up his own spirits, to keep up. As much as we're enjoying it, I think that on some level he's doing it for himself as well. I think most people say what they need to hear themselves. Um, when you meet somebody who's just a crappy person and says terrible things to you, those things they're saying to you, they believe about themselves, and they're talking to themselves. They're using you as a mirror. When you meet somebody who even doesn't even know you and just is very positive and happy and giving out the good vibe, they're giving out a good vibe because they need a good vibe, right? So I think we all need good vibes at this point, incidentally. But it's challenging, and I think that he's trying to hold it all together as he's moving through this very difficult time. We're not out of danger. His state is not out of danger. And while it seems that he's making all the right choices, it's possible that he's not. So he's going to have to be responsible for that, and he knows that. And I think emotionally, it's very challenging on him. So I think that his challenge is just keeping up his spirits. Okay, let's see what's underneath it. Okay, this is the Page of Cups. The Page of Cups. Um, I think that deep inside, he feels like a little kid. I don't know how else to say that. I think when I see the Page of Cups, there's a purity and an innocence about the Page of Cups. And sometimes it's a foolish innocence, right? And sometimes it's just you know, I keep saying everything is going to be all right because I believe everything is going to be all right. Um, so there's this sort of hopey on hope energy here. Um, And so while he comes across as somebody who is in charge, um, he is on a fine line. He is on a fine line, and I don't mean to say that that makes him weak. I think it makes him strong. I think when you're willing to put yourself out there, even when like deep within, there's a deep vulnerability to that. I think that's the sign of somebody actually who really cares because they're willing to take a chance to help. See what's in the past. The Ten of Swords. We get destitution. There is something in his past, an ending, a sense of sacrifice. Um, this could be his father or how he felt about what his father gave, um, and to his constituents perhaps, and what it took away from his family, his sons who were doing the same thing. I mean, when you are the governor, your primary concern is the state, and the family in a way takes a back seat, and he knows how that feels because he was the son of a governor. That's what I mean. So I think he's well aware of the sacrifices that are necessary, and the sacrifices and how painful they are. They ask him, do you want to run for president? Everybody's bringing your name up for president. He's like, no, my job is here in the state. And I think that, he believes that. And I think that the presidency is a little daunting for him all the same. See what's in the sky? Okay, we have the archpriestess. This is the high priestess, actually. And in this deck, it's called Dissolution. She's sitting here. I don't know if you can see this. I'm just trying to get it so you can get focused on it. I'm sorry about the camera here. She's sitting on a camel. The high priestess in the Kabbalah is goes right down the center of the tree. Here, let me show you. I happen to have a Kabbalah here. Okay, just cover a name here. So the high priestess runs right up the center of the tree. This is the place of the high priestess. It's associated with the Greek letter Gimel, which I think I'm saying wrong, which means camel. And there's this expression: it's easier for a camel to go through an eye of the needle than a rich man to go to heaven, right? Um, there is a so the high priestess above him says to me that he has a very uh, that he has a long journey ahead of him that is going to be very uncomfortable. Um, but it is the thing that sort of connects him to spirit. It is the thing that connects him to his higher power. The path of the priestess, of the high priestess, is about going over the abyss and through the desert. And I feel like having that up there says to me, this is somebody who could take us through the abyss that we are moving through, because that's really what we're moving through. We're sort of moving through this energy of everything changing, and when we get out the other side, everything's going to be different. And how do we navigate that? How do we navigate that? Only not everybody can lead in those situations. And so I feel like that the high priestess being up there is an indication that is in fact, um, he could lead us out of this. He could, and the potential is there. And spirit says, yes, this is the man who can lead us to the other side of this. Let's see what the immediate future is. Okay, we have the Nine of Wands here. This is, it's called Intensity, and we have the sleeping man, and then we have his sort of his higher self, or the self, the part of himself that is in the astral realms. because this is a physical realm and this is the astral realm. So what this says to me, and all of these wands are wisdom. I'd say over the next 6 weeks, and this may be why his father came in, and I said Mario first. Over the next 6 weeks, his father is very, very close to him and is helping him to govern. That's what's happening. Um, and he's a lot of his inspiration is coming directly from his father. He is a conduit for that. He is a conduit for that. And it kind of makes sense with the base of the reading being the Page of Cups, because on its own, the Page of Cups would not be able to necessarily be that person to get us through um, the eye of the needle. But that person who's open and hopeful and willing to make sacrifices, guided by higher principles or by even his own higher self, and certainly by his father, is definitely a yeah, he's definitely going to be getting messages and dreams. Yeah, I think his brother had a dream of him and his father, and when he was in one of his fever-induced deliriums from having COVID. His brother Chris. Okay, let's see. How is this seen from the outside? Yeah, the Chariot. The people see him as moving towards his destiny, and there's nothing that's going to stop that. So it looks like people want him. People want him to lead. People want him to move forward. It's very interesting, isn't it? Let's see, a domestic situation. Okay, art. This card is the Temperance card. It's called Verification. Um, so what this says to me is that the things that he does in New York, the things that he does right, the things that he does wrong, are going to be. He's going to base. Um, he's going to base how he deals with this situation in the United States through his experience in his domestic situation, his home experience. So this is giving him a lot of experience, um, a lot of good ideas, a lot of, and then also connecting. This also, you know, New York is one of the most powerful states in the country. You can't deny that. Um, New York, California, Massachusetts, New Jersey, even Connecticut, all those states, um, very, very important because that's sort of like the brain trust, right? Then you have Texas, which is sort of, you know, um, and then Florida, of course, which is just, it's like crazy town, but um, it's not still not the money and the resources that states like New York, California bring in. Um, so he's already in a good position to know powerful people. Um, and this is not just about powerful people here, it's about knowing powerful people, knowing what to do and what not to do through trial and error and verification. Through your domestic situation, and in his case, his domestic situation is New York State. Be right down. All right, let's see. Hopes and fears. The Three of Cups. This is celebration. Quite frankly, I think he just wants to be able to go home to his family. I think he just wants to go have a nice pasta dinner at his mother's house or have his mother over. He hasn't seen his mother in weeks. I think he hopes that better days are coming. That better days are coming. Let's see the outcome. Okay, we get the Magician, the power. So it's about intention. It's about direction. So what this says to me is ultimately it's going to be his decision. He is not going to be. He's not going to be pushed into something he doesn't want to do. And yet, I think he has the fortitude and the right type of service oriented personality that helps him to take on something like this, even though he knows how much it's going to cost ultimately. Yeah. So It's interesting. It's interesting. He could lead us. He could be one of the major people that lead us on the other side of this. Well, certainly through this, he's going to lead his state through this, and help to lead his region through this, and and then once we're, I think, through this, I think that then we definitely see him taking on more responsibility. Could he be president of the United States? Definitely. So I don't think it's going to be in 2020 because he is going to be too busy with New York. He has to finish the job that he started in New York with this. He just has to. It's his nature, and his father is making him. But 2024 or even 2022, if Trump does win, um, I think that it won't be long before he is out, even if he wins. So, and I guess I could do a reading on that as well. I'll do that later after I have my lunch. But, all right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Like and subscribe. And as I said, when I get to, I'm going to try to get down to the office in a little bit and do his numerology and Kabbalah and look at his chart, even though it's just a chart for noon. Okay, guys, take care. Bye.